Yes, I kept thinking about a scenario that is really, really bothering me. I don't know if you can help me. I have to write down because I talk a lot, so I don't want to go beyond what I'm supposed to say. And the scenario is that, let's say, I'm talking now on behalf of the grassroots, who has no way of getting vehicles by themselves. Let's say one person, let me say in Kalbato town, gets sick, have a fever, and they had to go and get the bus or the taxi cab. In the taxi cab, there will be people in there, including the driver. And that taxi cab, in fact, from Kalbatam to Connaught Hospital, you have to take 2 transports. And this person will have to take transport from Kalbatam to Eastern Police. From Eastern Police, this same person has to change drivers or vehicles to another vehicle wherein that person will find other people around in the vehicle. He will not be the only person in the vehicle to Connaught Hospital. Knowing the culture of complacency in in the hospitals, the nurse will have to test or take the temperature of this person unprotected. The same thing with the doctor. And after the fact, they will find out that this person has Ebola. And during that time, how do you think, what do you think about, what can we do to really protect? Because when we talk about containment, we have to follow, we have to trace people's movement. So in a situation like this, I don't know, unless you tell me as a doctor, how do we really stop? How do we follow these people and make sure we quarantine all the people that this person has come in touch with? That's a question that I have for you. The second question, at the congressional hearing 2 days ago, we engaged the chairman of the subcommittee with regards to the testing tools, the guinea pigs, or whatever is that they are doing in this country. And as you're aware, the sick patients that they brought in are now in Atlanta and they are in stable condition, according to what we know, what we are told. And the medication they give to them is helping them, obviously. We don't know about the long-term effects, but for right now, they are stable. Don't you think it's necessary for us to take a move? Some of us who are citizens in this country, don't you think we should engage our congressmen or senators to see how best they can use our people, the sick people in our country, as guinea pigs? Because it's better to live, especially people that are dying, at least it's better to try and fail than not doing anything. And don't you think a way like that will be better to eradicate this disease, other than what we are talking about, containing or following the quarantine people whom we may not even know among us? That's a question. There are 2 questions.
All right, thank you very much. I think those are very, very probing questions that I'm not sure I have the answers for, but together we may be able to think through it. I think one of the biggest issues that we're grappling with Ebola is the answer does not come from one source. The only way we're going to really tackle Ebola is to have an all hands on deck. Everybody has a role to play in this process. We have to make the patient, the potential patient, have the confidence that I'm going to a place where it's very likely that I'll be well, I'll be taken care of. We have to make it attractive for people to want to come to the hospital, knowing that there are assurances that if they come, the chances of their survival and going back home is extremely high. Unfortunately, that hasn't come across yet, because the initial message that went out is like, there's no medicine, there's no vaccine, and there's you go out there to die. And what happened was the cases that came to hospital were nearly terminal. They started bleeding. When you start bleeding, it means that you really damaged some major organs that you can reverse. So if you come in there, no matter what hospital it is, in the US or wherever, there's not a lot they could do for you. But if you come in early, You know, they're able to manage your vomiting, they're able to manage your diarrhea, they're able to manage your fluid level, they're able to give you oxygen, they're able to manage you such that, you know, your body's immune system, which is the only medicine, which is the only effective medicine, your own immune system will clear the virus. So it's very important. So all of those people who came early, that's why they're saying over 100 people have been discharged from hospital now and they're going home. That is the key message. Let people understand that these hospitals now are really chances, are hopes for survival. And if you come in early, you get services. And if we could pass that word around, you know, you really encourage people to come in early. And the problem with logistics of getting people to the hospital, which is an important point that you raised, is what the EOC is grappling with. They put in a request that had, based on population size, based on catchment areas, how many ambulances, how many pickup trucks, how many burial trucks, there's a long list of logistics support issues that have been cataloged. And all of a lot of the partners are saying, you know, we will buy components of your request. You know, the problem with the ambulances, though, they have to be retrofitted because you need to separate the driver from the rest of the ambulance itself. And so I think they were somewhere in North Africa where, you know, they assemble these things. It takes about 6 weeks for the ambulances to be ready for shipment. But I think right now they're looking at all kinds of transportation to get those available for people that will make it such that you could call directly, no matter what part of Freetown you're in, no matter what part of the provinces that you're in, you're able to access some of these ambulances that will come and pick you up and take you to the hospital. The critical thing is, if you take somebody early and take them to the hospital, it's not only good for that person, you don't only increase their chances of survival, you also protect the whole family. Because when they stay there, they're infecting the rest of their household. So I think let's see how the next week goes, you know, because I think there's a very, very aggressive, all of the trucks on the lot, about $28,000, we were told, those pickup trucks. I mean, they could, all of these other people who are using ambulances for other things, they could use these pickup trucks for logistics and stuff, and save the ambulances, put them in strategic areas that will be able to access patients and bring them in. So that's the one side. You talked about this drug that's available. I indicated to you that the only drug that we know now is your natural immune system. That is assured to clear the virus. And all you do, if you manage the patient long enough, usually what happens is, if the virus overwhelms you before your immune system kicks in, you know, it's very likely you will die. But if you're able to manage the patient to get them to a point where their immune system fully kicks in about 2 weeks, they're able to clear the virus themselves. So early arrival in there is really important. This molecule, this drug that they gave these two people, I will tell you the process of drug development. You identify a molecule, you identify a product that has some potential. You spend several years in the lab trying to see if this works in the lab setting. When you have a feeling that this has some potential, the next thing you do is you do some animal trials. You have some small animals like rats that you infect, and then see how they develop the disease and see if you can treat them with this drug. When you pass that level, you take it to higher animals. You take monkeys and primates and infect them with the bug and try to see if this chemical is working. After that, then you have a real trial to see if it's safe in humans. If it's safe, then you go to the next step to see if it's efficacious in humans, which takes about 10 to 15 years. What you have now is a product that's in the very, very early stage that you don't know if it's really, it just has potential to work. You don't know if it really works or not. And so the worry that everybody has is, can you take this product that hasn't been really tested and start using it in humans? It may work. What if it doesn't work? You know, people will accuse somebody of using Africans as guinea pigs. You know, so that is the big challenge. I think what we see now is a real confusion between the actual clinical care for these two people and these drugs that came in. I mean, the one person that was doing extremely well with the drug, they were ready to jump on the plane and come back home, and they're doing really, really, we're not sure what the contribution of this molecule is. And besides, this molecule is not on the shelf somewhere where you could just go get it. You know, I mean, like I said, it's so early in the developmental stage that all you have is maybe about 10 or 15 doses of it. Yeah. And so how, in order to go from there to actually make it, even if it's the best product, to make it into mass production, what you do is use these monoclonal antibodies that you develop first, and you put it into a tobacco system, and the tobacco multiplies it a little bit. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to produce enough for one treatment. So it will take a long, long time, and I think there's only a handful of these products ready. So great, I mean, if it's available, you know, if there's global consent, they have what they call compassionate release, where it hasn't gone through all of these processes, but it has real potential. The ethical side of it is really complicated, but you know, you could use it on a humanitarian basis, and that's what happened with these two people. Intense ethical dilemma. You have to have informed consent. They agree to all of the risks. They understand this whole process, that it's not a real drug, it's not a real answer, but they're willing to try it. And that's what happened. So, and also it's just extremely limited stock, because nobody was expecting that, you know, it's a miracle drug at this time. It's very, very early.